Citizen Kane, but even critics have claimed that it was shit in its day. Some films are shit and shit they will stay, but some get better over time because of Nicolas Cage. So which film stays shit forever? And which one's got a little bit better? Second chance movies. No poor bloods were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Welcome to Second Chance Movies, the podcast where we rewatch movies and decide if they deserve a second chance.
I'm Joe Harper, your host who loves rewatching movies, and I don't believe in ghosts.
And I'm Jessica Kwazz, your host who's a one and done kind of movie viewer who is a woman.
Good job.
Thanks. I hate to be controversial on the show, but I thought I would just state I am a woman. And today we are giving a second chance to 2016's Ghostbusters.
Of course we're doing this movie because there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out, and we kind of recently had a new Ghostbusters movie that was super divided by fans and movie viewers alike.
That's true. And for those of you who may not remember, this is the Ghostbusters that had an all-female cast, and that alone was very triggering for a lot of people.
You're ruining our Ghostbusters. So, Ghostbusters 1 and 2 were big hits of the 80s, and so like having a sequel or a reboot, anything that's has the Ghostbusters IP on it, was something fans were super excited about. But it actually had the lowest, like, this is like the most disliked YouTube trailer ever.
Really?
Yeah. Or
wow.
Or there's at least like the quickest disliked trailer. Man, people just didn't even want to. No, that's not our Ghostbusters. I do have to state, spoiler warning, we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Answer the Call. They had to do a subtitle just so we could differentiate the two. And also, let's hear that synopsis in case anyone is not familiar with this movie. Following a ghost invasion of Manhattan, paranormal enthusiast Aaron Gilbert and Abby Yates, nuclear engineer Jillian Hoffman, and subway worker Patty Tolan band together to stop the otherworldly threat.
I don't like it.
I don't know why we have to list every character's name.
Yeah. No, that's
our description.
Too much. Like, also like names and then what they do for money. Like,
yeah. What is their job description? You just to simplify this, even I was just following a ghost invasion of Manhattan. 4 paranormal enthusiasts band together to stop the otherworldly threat.
Bam.
Simple.
Succinct, to the point.
They form the Ghostbusters.
They form the Ghostbusters.
So this is the movie itself is a reboot. We just use the idea of 4 people coming together to create a, like, I don't want to call it a police squadron. They're essentially exterminators that will take care of ghosts that are invading.
That's exactly what they do. Yeah, it's the very first Ghostbusters, but set in 2016, and 4 ladies instead of 4 dudes.
Yeah, and that outraged so many people.
That alone, wow.
What is your relationship to Ghostbusters? Were you a huge fan growing up as a child? And as an adult, like, how do you feel about the Ghostbusters?
So, like a lot of people, Ghostbusters was a movie that I watched when I was younger. And as a kid, I thought it was fun and I really liked it. And it was one of those movies I watched multiple times as a kid. But then for me, it just kind of became one of those things like I like a kids movie. You know, it's like, oh, that was something I liked in my childhood. Didn't really carry into adulthood with me so much, but it was something like, yeah, that was fun. I really liked that, of course.
We're getting to the age then now that everyone has to have like an IP to do a reboot, a remake, sequel, and everyone's super excited about doing that. And I understand the need for it because the IP is something like, oh, I already know what that is. I'll probably like it again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's so standard is that like with IPs and reboots and remakes, like there's already a built-in audience. There's already some marketing that you don't even have to do because people know the premise. So like to me, Ghostbusters makes sense to give a little like reboot to and do something a little different in that same idea.
Updated a bit.
An updated version. Yeah. So looking back at 2016 and having this, like it makes complete sense, like in my opinion.
I watched it growing up, probably like once, maybe twice. I've watched it once or twice, maybe one other time since then. I haven't seen it much, but like I enjoy it. I respect it as a movie. I don't think it's funny in the way that everyone has like this attachment to, like, oh, Ghostbusters is so hilarious. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a good like science fiction movie. Good performances. It's just not like hilarious, which is the misconception. The biggest misconception that everyone has is that it's a kids movie. Just because you watched it as a kid does not make it a kids movie.
Yeah, I don't know how that evolved into a movie kids watch.
When the director of our 2016 movie, Paul Feig, was quoted. So back when this was getting made, the studio didn't want the scene of somebody flipping off the women as though they were scared it would scare away families. Paul Feig made a comment that if you watch the original, they swear constantly, they smoke constantly, and there's a fellatio from Ghost. So people remember what they want to remember.
That's so true.
Yeah, when I watched it as adults, you know, because I may have seen it once when I was younger. I'm like, oh my God, there's a blowjob scene like right at the beginning. What?
Yeah. Like literally, like I saw it so many times as a kid, and I remember that was the first movie where I heard someone yell the word ass. Like Bill Murray just has a line in which he says, yeah, ass.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Okay. And as a kid, I started saying ass because like it was in the movie, like whatever. So yeah, it's not like this pure-hearted family film. Like there's definitely some things in there that are more geared for adults. I don't know why it became like a kids movie, because I guess the Slimer is green and fun. I don't know.
He also didn't have a name. That is a name that was associated with him when they made the cartoon. Wow. It's only in the credits of like I think the sequels when it's like they never say the word Slimer in either of the two movies.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, you know, going back to 2016 specifically, I remember when the idea was announced, I wasn't a huge fan of like reboots and remakes anyway. So it was just kind of like, okay, another one. I didn't give a shit that it was a gender swap. That isn't what bothered me in the slightest. It was just more like, okay, another remake.
I think one of the big issues that everyone had was like they were in talks for years to make a Ghostbusters 3.
That's right.
One of our Ghostbusters, the actors Harold Ramis passed away, and so they were never able to complete a third one. So yeah, it was never going to happen where they all come back together to be Ghostbusters.
But also the thing that was sort of you know, annoying with that notion of like, this isn't like Ghostbusters 3, like all of the OG Ghostbusters approved this movie and are in it and like like it. So
this is literally the thing you want in a reboot. You get all your main cast back. Even our supporting characters that aren't Ghostbusters pop up, except Rick Moranis, who's
because he can't get into anything. Yeah. Like, so that's another thing too that always kind of I didn't understand why people are so upset, because like, yeah, the people that put their like heart and soul into the original approve this one. Like, so anyway, so it didn't, I wasn't like hot and bothered by a Ghostbusters remake, but I also at the same time kind of went into like, whatever, it's whatever. And I saw it, I believe, opening week back in 2016.
Okay.
And I remember enjoying it. Like, I remember being in theaters, laughing a lot more than I expected, and walking out of the movie being like, yeah, that really was fun. Like, that wasn't nearly as horrible as some people are making it out to be, like at all. I found it enjoyable.
As a non-Ghostbusters fan, I didn't feel the need to go see it in theaters, but I was definitely going to see it whenever it came out on like Blu-ray. And I think I bought it the first week it hit Blu-ray because I figured it's the same group that made Bridesmaids. It's Paul Feig directing. It's got Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy. I'm probably going to enjoy this, so I might as well get it because I'm probably going to watch it a few times. And I thought it was fun. I liked it.
Do you want to see what the people had to say about Ghostbusters when it came out?
Let's hear what other people had to say. You love this.
I love reviews. Reviews is my favorite part of the show.
To start off these reviews, let's see the tomato meter scores, which is at 74%. So it's positive, but the audience score, 50%. Divided.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Again, we've said this a few times with a few movies. It's really rare that the critics score is so much higher than an audience score, especially comedy.
Comedy, like popcorn blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Art house movies, I get where critics are up and the audience is like, I don't get it.
That was weird.
But like a big budget movie, usually audiences are like, we fucking love this. And the critics are like, I don't like Ghost.
Right. Right. So that's super interesting. I think that says a lot about the animosity for this movie right off the gate. Like people were biased in their opinions before they even came to the theater.
Oh boy, were they.
So let's start off with some positives.
Oh, good.
Okay. This one I just really enjoy, and I think it speaks to me. Peter Travers from the Rolling Stone said, "Angry nerds, take note. The ladies are the best thing about this franchise reboot. Kate McKinnon is a spontaneous eruption of hellfire hilarity."
Ooh, yeah. I remember the trailer, and the thing I laughed at the most was Kate McKinnon. McKinnon is quite a scene stealer in this.
Oh, absolutely.
Catherine Scott of Bitch Media. Ghostbusters is fun. It's silly, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Good.
That's exactly right. I think that it's fun, and it knows what it's making also. Like it's not trying to be a hyper serious, like we're making Ghostbusters comedy. It's
making a silly movie about 4 people stopping ghosts.
Yeah. This is a movie and knows what they're making, and I think they hit that. But what I think is interesting is so many people held it to such a higher standard than it just being like a comedy action movie.
I think that's the difficult thing when you're doing a reboot or remake sequel. When you're doing just such an IP that so many people hold dear to their heart.
They're not just going to look at it as like a summer blockbuster. It means something really deep. People don't like change.
Therese Laxon of Nerdophiles. The comedy still lands solidly, and the leading actresses pull off their roles with perfect ease that make this remake enjoyable summer movie fun.
It is summer movie fun.
I do think all the actresses do a good job. They're all 4 of them are hilarious.
Yeah. I like their chemistry together too. Like I think they all are bringing something different, and then when they're together it's just even better.
I'm not a huge fan of all their specific characters at times.
Okay.
But I think the actresses themselves are great. So
yeah,
it's whatever.
I would agree with that. Like I don't think individually I'm like obsessed with any one character, but I think the actresses coming in and doing it is what really like makes it for me. Matt Singer from Screen Crush wrote, "The occasional missteps don't negate the fun of the first 2/3." And I fully agree with that. I think that the ending is a little like
sloppy.
Yeah, like okay. Whereas the first 2/3 I think are really fun and great. And yeah, there are some missteps. It's not a perfect movie, but what is a misstep is not going to ruin the whole experience for me.
All right, guys. I've got some exciting news for you. To end our positive reviews, we found our favorite reviewer. No minnow.
No.
This time of Movie Mom, No Minnow writes, it's funny, smart, and sweet, and in every way is good or better than the original. Fanboys, have at it.
Oh,
Clapping back now.
Oh,
Have at it.
now. She's
Deal
like,
with it.
I don't care what your sexist ass has to say. It's good.
Merch idea? Fanboys, have at it.
That's real. That is a good line. That is a good line. I like it.
Yeah.
Genius. So sharp. I like it.
Better than the original. Fanboys, have at it.
Have at it. Come at us, bro.
I imagine Nell to be someone who always wears a leather jacket.
I imagine her to wear a leather jacket
mostly for this comment.
For this comment, I also imagine like a really nice turtleneck. Not everyone could pull off a turtleneck, but she has the vibe that she could.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, no.
Because I can't pull off a turtleneck, but I think she definitely can.
All right. Now that we've gotten the best positive review, let's see what people who didn't like this movie had to say.
They had a lot to say.
Oh,
they have a lot to say.
Oh. Steph Koza of Aggressive Comics. If you were to chug 5 gallons of Ecto Cooler and then throw it up, that would be better than the new Ghostbusters movie.
That was intense.
Ecto Cooler, for anyone who doesn't remember, is like high C, a cute little like juice box.
Oh yeah.
The Ecto Cooler it had like Slimer on the front.
Oh, yeah. Deep cut, girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
So clever use. I have to give her props for that was a good review. I don't agree. I don't think this movie was worse than Throw Up, but
no, I don't like throwing up at all.
But you know what, Steph, good job. That was a clever wording.
Clever dig. Okay. Nigel Andrews from the Financial Times. We love when the Financial Times comes in with a hot take about movies. When in doubt, clobber the audience with special effects Mardi Gras.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I like pretty things. I like to look at pretty things. Soria Nadia McDonald of the Undefeated. Frankly, if you're going to make a new Ghostbusters with a female foursome as the leads, and you're facing a backlash from clanging dungeons of women-hating internet, it seems like it would make for an epic opportunity to troll them. So I guess what she's thinking is they didn't make it as great as they could have. To really give it to everyone, had this movie been perfect, it would have been a big fuck you to everyone because this movie was kind of mediocre.
Right. It was easier to attack.
It's easier for those people to say, yeah, we told you women being the Ghostbusters was stupid.
It's really funny to see that now in 2021 when we're so close to Afterlife and how the reviews have been horrendous for it. So that's just interesting. I'm just saying that now, like saying it now. Everyone was like, cool. Afterlife is like what we want. And now everyone's like, it actually sucks. Like, interesting.
I also want to point out this movie got released before we had a big Time's Up in Me Too movement and where people started respecting women finally. So yeah, it was, man, had this movie just been delayed maybe 1, even 2 years, it could have been better received. Just people's mindsets might have been like, oh yeah, I'm not an ignorant piece of shit. This was okay.
No, because we hated women so much then it had to be perfect or nothing. And honestly, that's a dumb take because the movie was made before this weird energy of just blatant hatred, and no matter what you do at that point, when it's to that level, you can't make everyone happy, so even if it was slightly better, if the end was better, if it was whatever, that wouldn't change anyone's mind.
Yeah, correct.
So I don't agree.
Speaking of gender swap, you know what, if you guys stick to the end, Jess and I are going to play a little game. of
We sure are.
movie gender swap, where we've picked out a few movies where we swapped the male cast into a female cast.
We got some ideas.
Yeah, to make the movie either equally / differently fun or better. All right. Well, now that we've done that, let's talk about how we felt this second time around watching that.
It's one of those things where unfortunately the freaking out of it all, the people losing their goddamn minds over the idea of all female Ghostbusters and just that vitriol and hatred does follow this movie around. So it is hard to judge it on its own because you're always going to kind of have that in the back of its mind just because it was so present at the time. But now in 2021, I think that's insane because if you look back, there were so many worse movies in 2016, like horrifically awful movies in 2016. I'm just going to name a few. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, Warcraft, World of Warcraft movie. Okay. Now You See Me Too, which should have been called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, but that's another thing.
Yeah, now you don't.
Now you don't. Suicide Squad, the first one.
Oh no.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, that was rough.
Independence Day Resurgence.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What if this is a walk down memory lane.
This is a horrific walk down memory lane.
Oh no, what else happened?
We had Passengers. Gods of Egypt.
I didn't see it.
We had The Great Wall with Matt Damon. Oh yeah.
What a year for movies.
A year for movies. London Has Fallen, the sequel to
I saw that.
That one, the other one fallen. I don't
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen. Assassin's Creed movie. We have The Huntsman, Winter's War, the unneeded sequel to
Chris
Snow White.
Hemsworth is in this movie too.
He's in that too.
Oh,
we
man.
had Monster Trucks.
Oh my. Okay.
We had another underworld movie with Kate Beckinsale called Blood Wars.
I don't care.
The Legend of Tarzan.
Can you stop naming movies? This is just sad.
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Trucks.
We have the ever infamous Sausage Party that year as well. So this year, 2016, we also have a few winners. Very, very few, but a few. So the ones that are, the good ones, we have Deadpool, we have Doctor Strange, we have Civil War, Captain America Civil War, we have Arrival. Arrival's great. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
And that's what we got.
So I will say, I think Lady Ghostbusters is what I'm going to call it from now on.
Sure.
Is better than all of those bad movies you listed.
Mm-hmm.
But not better than all the good movies you listed.
Right.
Except maybe 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I would maybe argue Doctor Strange as well.
I'll agree.
Okay.
I feel the equal enjoyment levels for me.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's what's so interesting about this movie in particular. There are some movies that are so unquestionably awful movies, but they don't get that legacy of how polarizing and controversial this one is.
I just want to point out I'm in Civil War.
Oh, that's right.
And if you can spot me in Civil War, I'll review whatever movie you want.
But yeah, that's just something I felt the need that I needed to point out right away, is that the 2016 was a really bad year for movies. There were very few good movies, a lot of stinkers. But again, this one just seems to be held in its own arena, separate from all those, which is so interesting because so many bad movies got out of 2016 scot-free. And then some of the good ones, this is comparable to. So what's up with that? What's up with that? I know what's up with that, but.
Well, let's talk about what did we like about this movie. I think it's obvious that we think it's funnier than the original. I just think today's styling comedy is just quicker. We have just lines that are funny. um sight gags and stuff. Like it's all better. The 80s moved, at least film wise, comedy. 80s comedies are so slow. Like to
Yeah.
me, they
Yeah.
do not hold up over time. It's rough.
I would agree with that. I think the comedic styling nowadays is different. You're right, more fast-paced, quicker.
Cruder.
A little cruder, a little also like more subtle at times, because 80s comedy is just more like, did you see this joke? Do you see this joke? Did you laugh? One thing I do like about this comedy style for this movie as well is that it's different levels of comedy that I appreciate. So like we have like stupid kind of slapstick humor at certain points. We have some really funny, like witty dialogue moments as well. We have some just like over the top acting, goofy. So it's like a nice little like buffet of all sorts of different comedy stylings.
Which is what I think reflects in the main cast. I think all
Yes.
4 women are delivering something different. We have Leslie Jones, kind of like just being loud Leslie, which we just love.
I love her.
Yeah, she's loud, brash, love it. We got Kate McKinnon as kind of like this weird, kooky, like quirky nerd. Awesome. Melissa McCarthy is kind of like the whiner complainer of the group, like I wouldn't say hothead, but she's like, the pointing everything out, like, what the fuck. Kristen Wiig is kind of like I feel like she's kind of like our lead character, but she's like the quiet, shy, then everything kind of slapstick happens to her, like fucking like Ooze like slams her. She's like the butt of the jokes and like shy and nervous, and bam. And I think we get 4 different types of comedy jokes directed with each one of them,
and they all mesh together really well also.
Supporting cast I think is just good. Everyone has like a bit every once in a while. More importantly, I think our 2 biggest supporting cast members are I'll start off with our smaller supporting cast member. Our bad Neil Casey is Rowan, who turns into like the villain.
That's right. Yep.
He's just such a good creeper. Like this creep that like wants to create this like ghost apocalypse for everyone. And then one of the stars of this movie, just like bam, Chris Hemsworth, such a scene stealer.
He is. I love him in this role. I love it so much. I love the reverse of having male eye candy that is just so dumb and has no personality. Because we've seen that so many times with like female eye candy where like she's bringing nothing else to the table.
He's their like receptionist assistant.
He's the receptionist, their assistant. He's so dumb. He's so dumb and so plain, and that's the joke, and it works so well. It's just like stupidly hilarious. And one thing I like too is that Chris Hemsworth is in on the joke too. Like he's having fun playing this idiot.
Without this movie, we would not have gotten Thor Ragnarok.
I would agree, because this is where we saw like, oh, he's funny. Yeah, he can be funny.
Because Thor 1 and 2, he's pretty like stoic and Thor's not funny. Whereas like we see goofy Hemsworth, and then I guess maybe I don't know when they decided to get Taika Waititi directing, but like when they let Hemsworth be hilarious and goofy and kind of dim-witted, man, Thor got better.
Oh yeah, no, I would agree that this probably had a huge influence in that.
Thank you, Ghostbusters. Answer the call.
Yeah, you know what, fanboys?
Have at it.
Have at it. Have at it.
One thing I like about this movie, I think the ghosts look cool. I think there's like this like glowy element of them that just looks brighter and sharper than like a ghost 80s technology. So I'm always going to be comparing it to that movie, but I think the ghosts look vibrant and fun and different. Like I like it.
I agree too. And one thing that I like as well is that the ghosts are all kind of distinct as well. They all have their own color scheme or their own look, their own size, their own shape. I think that's fun to play with because there's no set parameters. It's, not the traditional idea of a ghost. And in the original, maybe because of the limitations with technology back then, a lot of the ghosts very much do look the same, except for Slimer. That's why he stands out. Whereas this, we have, I mean, just a variety of really fun colors and over the top like shapes and outfits, and really do like the looks of the ghosts. I think they're really fun and really different. And you can tell like, oh, this is the ghost we're fighting right now because he looks this way.
Is there anything you did not like about this movie?
There's some things I didn't like. Like the one reviewer said, not enough for me to like have an awful time with this movie.
Correct.
So the first thing that I think stands out in something that I don't love, you talked about our villain, Rowan. I think that the actor who plays him is fun. I think he is just a creepy little schlubby villain that I like. However, his motivation is a little vague. And I think had we just played that up a little bit more or defined that a little bit, I think he would have been an even better villain. It's just odd because basically he's been bullied his whole life. He's a really lonely dude. He's treated terribly.
Makes sense for the start of a villain.
Sure. But then that's sort of all where we go with him. So like he hates humans. So he wants to just like end the human race by releasing ghosts. But like, how did he figure that out? Like, where did he put those two ideas together?
That would be an entirely different movie. That wouldn't be about the Ghostbusters. That would be about Rowan, like reading books.
That's true. I think, like, I don't know, just a little bit more. He's not our focus. You're right, and a lot of it is what I find really interesting and really different is that their main villain is this guy because he is allowing the ghosts to be out. They all have to fight their ghosts, blah blah blah, and then but it's this guy that let them out, so he's really the bad guy. And I think that's an interesting concept, but it's just I would have liked, I think, a little bit more of him being like fleshed out. Sure, people suck, so I totally see like why he's just like ghosts are cool, but like also ghosts are like the souls of people, so like anyway.
I think I wish we had more time at least with the actor to like do more things, like call ghosts maybe follow him or do something, because like he dies essentially halfway through the movie and his ghostly spirit inhabits Hemsworth, and like then Hemsworth is essentially the bad guy for until they are able to defeat him, which I don't really like. I think it's kind of similar to like Sigourney Weaver kind of being possessed in the first one.
It is a callback, and I think the Hemsworth gimmick is fine, but like I think we could have shortened it. I think you're right. We could have spent more time with like the actual actor and like who Rowan is, as our villain, and then maybe he takes over Chris Hemsworth for like a little bit.
Just the end.
Yeah.
I think the Ghostbusters theme song that is redone by Fall Out Boy is not great. Maybe like if this movie was made like 10 years prior to this, Fall Out Boy would have been relevant, but like I was like, what? They're making music still? They were never like my first choice in music, so it was weird. Like if maybe we get someone who's popular in 2016. I don't know who that would have been. Yeah,
I don't either off the top of my head. I think too, like
could we have done Taylor's version of Ghostbusters theme song?
Hell yeah. Well, I love Fall Out Boy and I love Patrick Stump. His voice is not like the right vibe that they were going through, because they're trying to make this like upbeat fun version, like the original, but even more like dancing.
Can I make a recommendation?
Mm-hmm.
Get a lady to do it.
Yeah.
You did Lady Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Why don't we get a lady or a group of women, like a band? I don't know. Yeah. I don't think Gaga is the right person to do it.
Sure, but like there's other females.
Not to me. She's the only one that does music.
I think it would have been a fun pop song as well.
Lizzo could have done it.
That would have been really fun.
I think we could have had a good Lizzo.
Yeah. Yeah. The vibe for this it's really forgettable having Fall Out Boy do it. And it's sort of almost, it's basically just the original, but like with
it is hard because
different instruments.
Ghostbusters theme is
Iconic.
epic.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to play it at like Halloween, even though it's
Sure.
not a Halloween song. Who You Gonna Call is iconic. Like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
I think they should have, like what they did with Fall Out Boy is basically take that song, maybe make the tempo a little faster and just like have different vocals and instruments.
We're Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, you're right. Do it with a lady. Do it with someone who's got like pizzazz and like
Attitude.
dancing and attitude. Yeah, that
need,
would have
like,
been a lot better.
I need
Yeah.
someone who could like win in a fight. singing
Yeah,
this song.
to sing the song. Like absolutely. I agree. I don't like that. So one thing I'll say that I don't like is the ending. So I think the last 20 minutes or so, things feel like messy and like too much is happening all at once, sort of.
Okay.
And one thing, and this isn't really the movie's fault, it's just how it is. There's just so much CGI within the last 20 minutes or so of the big battle. Like it's pretty much all CGI. It's only been like what, 5 years now, and it already looks really cheap. Like the CGI watching it now doesn't
I
look
thought
good.
it looked I think it's just the ending too. It's
Yeah.
because they're clearly not in New York at the time. They're in front of like nothing and everything's painted around them.
Yeah.
It looks rough.
It looks rough. And there are some times where there's shots that are like on an actual like set and it looks pretty good with CGI in it. But there are shots where it's just like, yeah, the ladies and then full CGI all around them. And that's where it looks like cheap and like kind of takes me out because it's distracting and it's sort of jarring when it becomes just like mostly CGI. It just doesn't look good. I think, yeah, it's a little obvious. And I think like we could have blended it even better or just have like set and like CGI, but just all CGI all the time in this movie doesn't look good. There's too many ghosts in that big battle at the end.
I don't mind that. It's
Okay.
very colorful. Because there's that long creepy one that's like,
Mhm.
oh, which way do fishy go? Like there's a lot of fun ghosts in that scene. Again, it's fun, colorful. I don't mind that they have like Power Ranger weapons and beating the shit out of ghosts. Like,
Yeah.
I've developed like a glove that can punch the ghost.
Sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Why not?
Let's choreograph something a little better than pretty
Yeah.
close up with you not in any actual location.
I think too what makes the ending with the CGI so jarring is that for most of the movie we have like a blend of like physical sets, practical effects, and then also CGI. Whereas in the ending it's a lot of just like straight up green screen. And that's, I think, makes it too much to see because we weren't doing that for most of the movie until the very end.
Shout out to Michael K. Williams.
Oh yeah.
He's in this barely. I feel like the cast probably hung out with him a lot during this, but
Yeah.
I feel like he's not featured very much in this movie. But goddamn, is he a good actor? He passed away recently, and yeah.
Yeah.
The Wire? Fuck, he killed it in The Wire.
He was really good in every role I saw him in. I also really liked what he was doing in Lovecraft, which unfortunately is only gonna have one season, which blows my mind, but whatever. And I did see that when he passed away, Leslie Jones did post a photo of the two of them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bummer. Yeah, shout out to Michael K. Williams. Round of applause. Everyone stand up. Michael K. Williams.
Yeah, because I don't know how many movies of his we might review just because he's not in a lot of trash.
Right. He's really not, yeah.
So sorry guys, I'm not gonna review good movies he's in them.
All right. Joe, do you think that Lady Ghostbusters, or better known as 2016 Ghostbusters Answer the Call, deserves a second chance?
You know what? This might surprise you. No, it won't. I think everyone judged this movie way too harshly. because of, nostalgia of the original. And you know what? This is fun. It's a fun, enjoyable movie with 4 great lead actresses that are hilarious. And it's a good way to pass like almost 2 hours, it gets a second chance for me. It'll eventually get a third, probably a fourth chance. I'll probably watch it every like 5 years, but like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Let's watch it. I'll watch this more than I would ever watch the first one.
You know what? I think I'm more likely to go to this than the first two.
You know what? If I ever have kids, I'm just going to show them this Ghostbusters and never talk to them about the first one. They won't understand any of the references. So like, what? Why are they zooming in on this thing?
And then when they grow up and find out about the original and watch it, they'll be like, this sucks. This is boring.
Fuck this piece of shit.
You know what? I would agree with that. I think this is way more family friendly than the first one that everyone loved as a kid. I also think that this absolutely does deserve a second chance. I think people came in with these weird biases of what they wanted and what they thought should be the best movie. And basically, no matter what they were going to do with this, it was going to fail because people were just so vehemently against it and so like visceral in their hatred for it. And just the idea of like doing something different really freaked people out. I think people were way too hard on it. I think doing something different was actually really fun here. I think that it's wonderful to just go in and be ready to laugh. And if you go in like with a fun energy, it's gonna match that. I think our expectations were way too harsh unnecessarily. And I think that, yeah, sexism did play a role in that for sure. And if we just like leave that at the door and try again, I think you'll really enjoy it. So I say go watch it.
Damn boys, have at it.
Have at it. So Joe came up with this really awesome idea. Joe, do you want to explain your idea?
I sure do. I gave Jessica a challenge and myself a challenge. Let's gender swap another all-male cast movie to make it, let's just celebrate the women. Let's get them out in the movies. If we're gonna do a reboot, let's change it up a lot, By a lot, I mean barely by gingers. Okay, so top of the list, what do you got?
So I'm gonna take us back. We're gonna get in a time machine and we're gonna go back a few years to when the movie everyone could not stop talking about was the Expendables trilogy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I see, again, that's a great choice because boy, is that just a sausage fest.
So much sausage, so much. Here's the thing. I liked the Expendables. I thought they were fun. I thought they were stupid. I thought they were over the top. I was into it. I thought it was really entertaining.
We essentially got the biggest action stars of like the 80s to get together, and you're just like 30 years older.
Yeah.
Doing action.
Genius. And then as the movies went on, because there were 3, they would add younger people in the mix. They would add like some
other classic people.
Yeah, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was fun and I really enjoyed it. And then you all might remember there was talk about a female version called the Expendables.
I don't like that though.
I hate that, but
I would just call them the Expendables and just Expendables. Answer the call. So now that I was researching it in 2021, it looks like that might have just been an internet rumor. I don't know if there was ever even talks of like an actual like all female Expendables, but who would you cast?
I'm glad you asked because I want to go all across the board. I want to go big with lady Expendables. So I want to, similar to the Expendables, the original, I want to get some like fun 80s action ladies in the mix. So I want to get Linda Hamilton. I want to get Sigourney Weaver.
Hell yeah.
I want to get Pam Grier. And then I want to go also, we're gonna act like this is evolving, like the Expendables. We're gonna grab some other people, throw them in. We're gonna get Angela Bassett. Okay. We're gonna get Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
No question. Okay. Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a big ass cameo from Angelina Jolie because she's done some action. She kicks some ass. Then we're gonna take it even more recent, more younger action ladies. We're gonna get a Michelle Rodriguez in there.
Okay.
We're gonna get a Zoe Saldana because she kicks ass. She's
Man,
fun.
she's doing a lot of stuff.
We're gonna get a Tessa Thompson because she's been kicking ass too. And
Just get a lot of the Marvel women, huh?
get some Marvel ladies.
Get them.
Yeah.
We also get them to reenact the entire scene in game, but they line up.
Let's go, girls. And then they line up, and then we hear one of them say, "Let's go, girls." And then we have, yep, hell yeah. And then we're gonna have a comedian in the mix too.
Okay, as
and we're
you
gonna,
should in action.
We need a funny person in the mix, and that's gonna be Leslie Jones.
Okay,
because she's got fun energy. She's got sass. We've seen her do a little bit of action in Ghostbusters. And I want to do even more. I want to see her like fucking fight because I bet she'd be fun to watch.
Get some like
in
guns
action.
and stuff.
Yeah. So
she'd
that's
be like the bazooka lady.
Yeah.
Explosions expert.
Yeah, and fun. And so that's who I have. But again, we can like play around with it. We can bring people in. We can get even younger people in the mix. We can get like anyone. The sky's the limit with Expendables lady version.
Love it.
I think it's fun.
Love it. Yeah. Okay. I've got a favorite of mine.
Okay.
A classic that I hold near and dear to my heart, Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
Point Break is like the ultimate action movie in my mind because it's got fucking everything. It's got surfing, car chases, gun shootouts, skydiving. It's every like action sequence thing. You have bank robbing. Like we're jam-packed in this movie.
Oh yeah.
So what I would do, we cast someone as our Patrick Swayze, like hippie Bodhi person, like a Shailene Woodley or Zazie Beetz, Kristen Stewart, someone fairly established. And then, and someone who's like willing to like jump out of a fucking airplane because we have to reenact Patrick Swayze jumping out of airplanes.
I like Kristen Stewart for this. You said her. I like her for that.
I think she has like a
down.
Nice hip vibe that like I think would work. I don't really care who we cast. I feel like a new person, undiscovered for Keanu's role.
Yeah,
is like the young new FBI person.
Sure.
Or the FBI partner that was played by Gary Busey.
Okay.
You either get one of two people from our Ghostbusters.
Oh.
My first choice is McCarthy.
Okay.
Or Wig. One of those two.
McCarthy.
Okay.
This is what I said. That's what I feel.
Sorry, Wig. Get out of here. I think McCarthy the older, like, I've done this before, kid.
So for my next one, I'm gonna go just like a smidge off the rails. Just a smidge. We're gonna get creative. We're gonna get wild here. Okay. So as we know, I like horror movies. And you and I have both said we like the slasher genre. We think it's fun. One of the tropes from that is obviously the final girl. So like the final victim who makes it to the end, who fights her way to the top. We have like we just had a Halloween movie. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. She's our final girl. I want to mess with that, and I want to have a final guy, and I want to have the most fun with the bad guy, or the bad woman, if you will. So I want a Michael Myers type. I want a Jason Voorhees type. I want like Freddy Krueger type as a lady. Okay?
It would have to be its own new character.
A new character, yes.
Like a slash. We're inventing a new slasher, but she's a lady.
Yes. And we're taking that trope. We're taking that trope that's been used and used and used and used over and over again as a final girl, and we're going to play with it. And we're going to have a final guy, and we're going to have a woman who is a really intense like villain or slasher, if you will. Again, I don't know exactly, but like if we're just imagine like a murderous type villain. If we're doing a slasher, I want Lupita Nyong'o to play a villain. Because I think seeing her in Us, she can do some unhinged, dark, fun shit.
I was just thinking, you were probably thinking of Us.
I was thinking of Us, and she's really great in that horror movie. And I want to see her just let loose, off the rails, full on psychopath, go crazy, do your thing. I think that'd be really fun. So I want again, a little off the rails. I don't want horror girls any final girls. I want a horror final guy, and I want a lady coming at him, ready to like fuck shit up.
Is she murdering more men or more women in this movie?
It can be both, you know, but it's gonna be a leaning more towards men because traditionally that's what we see. We've seen a lot of slasher movies where there's both, but we have seen a lot of ladies who are like, I'm just like an innocent, nice girl, and I like maybe have sex, and then boom, she's like brutally murdered.
Okay.
And I want to fuck with that. I don't want to.
So we'll have a guy that's like, I finally lost my virginity, and he dies. Poor little nerd. I know it's a nerd.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
All right. I'm going in a very different direction than you.
Oh, okay.
For my next choice.
Sure.
This is again all males, so it's a lot. So we're switching around. Reservoir Dogs.
Oh yeah. Okay, I like this. Yeah.
But again, they're all women. We give them all the same names. You could make it shot for shot. I think it would be fun.
Okay.
Maybe change some dialogue up a bit.
Sure.
But I was trying to create my perfect cast with this.
Ooh.
Okay. In Hollywood, if you're listening, yes. If Tarantino wants to work with me on this to make this his final movie, I'll allow him to work with me. All right. But for someone who, you know, I want Amy Adams as Mr. White. Someone who's like experienced in the game, like our Harper Keitel.
Yeah.
The one we were rooting for. I'd like to see her in this like gritty thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we don't get Amy, I mean, we'd probably get Uma if Tarantino's doing it. But hey, that's our backup. We need someone kind of young and new for Mr. Orange, because it's a Tim Roth one. Ana de Armas, from Knives Out.
Yeah.
I think she's young, fresh. She's been doing a lot of things. She'd be good.
Oh yeah.
Queen's Gambit girl would be a good choice as well.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Mr. Blonde. Just like a psychopath of a person.
Yep.
Rosario Dawson. So unhinged.
Yeah, she's
ever.
unhinged.
I'd see her. I want to see Katie Stackhoff as Mr. Pink. I just want to see her in more things. She's in The Mandalorian. I'm putting Leslie Jones as our nice guy Eddie role.
Yes.
The Chris Penn. Because again, Pam Grier would be Joe.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Let's go to work.
I like this cast. I like this idea. Absolutely, I'm in. So I'm gonna take us in another different direction. And
okay.
But still very male dominated energy. I like a good like mystery movie, a good like thriller, a good like true crime kind of vibe, if you will. And that is a very male dominated presence. Like if we have a detective, it's usually a guy. So I want to play with that. And I'm going to choose 7 to play with. Okay.
Ooh.
So 7, we have our Morgan Freeman, we have our Brad Pitt, we have our creeper, who is like literally a creeper in real life. If you know what I'm saying?
We're not gonna mention his name.
No. So I want to
John Doe.
John Doe.
The character John Doe.
So I want to play with that. I want to see more like true crime detective stuff, whereas ladies as our detectives. So for 7, we're gonna do this with 7, okay? And our Morgan Freeman, like our wise sage, who's like seen some shit, like, you know, a little numbed, like has been through it. Nothing really surprises him anymore, you know, like I'm about to retire. That's gonna be Glenn Close.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have our Brad Pitt, like our young, naive, like I'm gonna be a good detective and like save the day kind of attitude, but then is like just knocked down the entire time and really goes through it. I want Elizabeth Olsen for that. Like a upbeat, positive person who can also really bring it down to a very dramatic place.
Okay.
And then we are gonna have the suspect, the bad guy, the big bad, the evil psychopath who's doing our crimes. I want Jane Doe from the original. I want Octavia Spencer.
Okay.
I saw Ma.
Okay.
Sure did. And while that movie is so the movie is you could say a lot of things about Ma, but one thing I will say is Octavia Spencer is such a psychopath in that movie, and it's so good. Like, she's just so good at being creepy and like weird and a villain, and I want to see her like that, but in like a genuinely good, gritty, dramatic movie. And I think Octavia Spencer could really be just a good, scary person.
Okay. I'm gonna spice this up a bit.
Oh, okay.
With my third pick. I'm going comedy.
Sure.
I want This Is the End.
Oh, yeah.
We play the same events it takes place at the same time. The world is ending just the same way, but we're setting this in New York City.
Okay.
And we're bringing two of my favorite New York ladies into this movie. Abby and Alana for Broad City. Maybe one is attending like an SNL party with Kate McKinnon, because we're getting Ghostbuster in there. So Leslie could also make an appearance as a cameo, or be one of our characters in it. But maybe it's like, because we feature a lot of the SNL cast, things happen. Maybe they're all holed up in the SNL building.
Fun. And
then they play with a lot of old props and stuff, recreating that while, going at it, fighting each other, and one dying off until, they ascend into heaven or whatever the fuck. I have got my one last one, and this is my wild card because I just like, hey, let's have some fun with this.
Okay.
Face Off.
Yes.
My hilarious choice was Jessica Chastain and Amy Adams, since they always get those two confused anyway.
Oh my God, that would be so perfect. That would be so wonderful. Just like, I'm imagining like the same energy of Face Off, like just really like over dramatic delivery, like just so silly. And it's like, yeah, these two phenomenal actresses who look the same in a lot of people's eyes. I love it.
I would have
love it.
But for this one, I would distinctly make Jessica Chastain the villain and Amy Adams the hero.
Okay.
So when we swap roles, Jessica Chastain gets to play, or Amy Adams gets to be villainous throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
We usually see her as a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then we get to see Jessica Chastain be super nice and sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
She seems like the tougher.
Yeah.
I want this movie.
I love this idea. When are they going to start paying us to make movies? Because we got some fucking fire ideas here.
Yeah, I got a lot of ideas. Everyone's got plenty of streaming time, so let's just make stuff.
So I think the moral of the story is change can be okay. It can be fun. And don't judge a movie based on having a bunch of women in it.
Guys, women in movies is great.
Yeah.
Let's watch more of them.
Let's watch more of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Second Chance Movies. As always, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. You can find us on our personal social media. So if you want to be our friend and you want to keep chatting about movies with us, everything is in the description box down below. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. If you just want an auditory experience, if you want like a visual medium, you can also find us on YouTube.
See our cute faces and our cute t-shirts that I made.
Yes, and just sick outfit. A big thank you as always to Beaty McBeatface for making our really fun, wonderful theme song that we just enjoy so much. And yeah, if you have any suggestions, if you have a movie you want us to cover, please let us know. We would be more than happy to do it. Thank you again for listening, and we'll be back next week with another Second Chance movie.
Is it the wig or the hat?
Second chance